Talk Real Estate with Sharon McNamara, sponsored by Boston Connect Real Estate Services.
Hi, I'm Sharon McNamara, and you are listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. Let me share a little bit about my background before we get started. I am the broker-owner of Boston Connect Real Estate, a boutique real estate firm that is home to over 30 real estate sales and marketing consultants who service home buyers and home sellers throughout Boston, the South Shore, the South Coast, and Cape Cod. Our firm takes pride in assisting our clients in the next chapter of their lives by taking a holistic approach to their real estate endeavors. We believe that every move should be a moving experience. Every week, my real estate team member, Mary Baker, and I, along with the director of Boston Connect Real Estate, Melissa Wallace, provide you with our unique marketing approach to selling homes and share with you our expertise in navigating the home buying process. We like to mix it up sometimes, so not only will you hear our perspective on real estate topics, but you will hear the expert thoughts and opinions of some of our real estate agents at Boston Connect Real Estate and the preferred professionals that we trust. Be part of our roundtable. If you have any questions during the show, please call 781-837-4900. We'd love to talk real estate. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and wherever you listen to podcasts at Talk Real Estate Roundtable. If you would like a one-on-one consultation with me and my team or one of the dedicated agents at Boston Connect Real Estate to discuss your real estate needs, you can connect with us at bostonconnect.com or 781-826-8000. Now, sit back, relax, take good notes, and let's talk real estate. And good morning to all my South Shore neighbors. This is Sharon McNamara, and you are, of course, listening to Talk Real Estate Roundtable. We are live this morning in studio. I am so happy to have my sidekick back. I felt a little naked on Tuesday. It was a weird experience for me.
Yeah,
but we have Melissa back from vacation, and
Hello.
she had a wonderful, wonderful time in Vegas.
I did, yes. My first time in Vegas.
I've never been.
Yeah, I honestly don't really think that you would like it. I think the food, we had incredible food all week. That's what I've been telling everybody. Incredible food, incredible service there.
Yeah.
Drinks are great. Just very expensive, and maybe if we went to a show I'd feel a little bit different, but I think one and done is good for me.
Yeah. I think I always picture it just being very all about gambling, and I'm not a gambler.
Yeah, well, so we stayed at Caesar's Palace, and it was definitely, I would say that was more of the party place. It just, there's so much to do there, and it's so big, and we were getting lost every day, and there's so many pools and a lot of bachelor and bachelorette parties, and you just party there, and you can tell that it's a casino. But we went next door to the Bellagio, and anybody who's seen the Ocean's movies, that's where it was, and you almost sort of forgot it was a casino. There was a piano bar and just so many
I would like
flowers.
that type of stuff.
I feel like the Bellagio would be more your
more my speed.
More your speed. And I'm sure that there's other things. There's an Encore there that's also Wynn, and we went to Sinatra restaurant, and that was amazing, and we had incredible food all week.
Awesome.
So I think that you would love
Hell's
that.
Kitchen. I was
we went to Hell's Kitchen for lunch one day. Amalfi, which
I would love Amalfi. I mean, if it has anything to do with
Yeah.
Italian food.
Yeah, that's Bobby Flay's restaurant. We just amazing food all week. It was a little tough for me to eat just because with all my food allergies.
Yeah.
So I had to modify a lot of things, but I'm sure that if they weren't modified, it would still be amazing for people. But
that's awesome. Well, we're happy to have you back, and we held down the fort. I only had to call you once, and that's good.
That's good.
So, and it was on the last days, which was really, really good. So we also have Tim in the WATD studio. He is our producer for today. Hello, Tim.
Viva Las Vegas. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
I enjoy Vegas too. I miss it. I've been out there once myself too.
Yeah, it was definitely fun. I'm glad that I went.
Did you see any
young
shows?
and single? No, we didn't.
Okay.
We didn't. I went with a friend, and she had some family there, so we got to spend some quality time with them. And we went to the Grand Canyon one day, which was incredible. Every single picture. Anybody who's been to the Grand Canyon, any picture that you take just does not do it justice. We had an amazing day that day.
Never been there either, so.
Yeah, it was only maybe 2 hours and 15 minutes. We got there pretty quickly, and so it was a nice little day trip.
Awesome. Well, we are very, very happy to have you back. Today's topic, we, while you were gone, I put in a couple offers for some of our buyer clients, and, had listings, and was watching, 20 offers come in on one of our listings, and looking at all those offers, it's sort of surprising to me too.
We have a caller
already.
All
Hello.
right.
Yes, we do. They're waiting patiently.
All right.
We have Jean in the car.
Hello, Jean in the car.
Hi, Jean.
Hey, hi. How are you folks?
Good. What can we do for you?
Okay. Enjoyed listening to your visit to
Vegas.
where was it? Nevada?
Vegas, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you had a wonderful time.
Yes, I
Now,
did.
my-
Thank you.
My question to you folks is off the beaten path, but still relative to your program.
Yeah.
So I'm in a situation where I have to be out of a rental situation, but I have to be out on the 18th. However, I'm being charged the full month of the rent. Does that seem right?
Do you have a lease, or are you month to month?
It's month to month.
Okay.
Yeah, so if you're month to month, it should just be for that month, would be, unless they had somewhere written in the lease that you would be. So what day of the month do you generally pay your rent? Are you the 18th to the 18th, or are you the 1st to the 1st?
No. The court order reads that it has to be paid on the 1st. Like, no
Okay.
gratis, no, you cannot, like, I positively cannot be late. And if that situation were to come into play, then I would lose the unit. That certainly did come into play. However, I'm still obligated to pay that full month, but I'm required to leave on the 17th. So
If you're being required to leave by the 17th by the landlord, then I would say no. Again, I am not an attorney, but I can certainly you can leave your information with Tim, and I'll reach out to my attorney, who's Emmanuel Ebot from Stiles Law, who's right in Marshfield, and I can follow up with you on Monday. But if you're paying month to month and you choose to leave on the 17th, I would say that you would be required to pay the whole month. But your landlord really shouldn't be going in there until your term expires.
I was, and this is embarrassing, but I was served papers, so I couldn't really say it until I was actually served the papers, which that did happen late yesterday. So now I can actually say, yeah, I got it. I have to be out. I did spar a little bit with the court system when I said, well, would you please extend it to the end of the month, to allot me time to be more organized. And that wasn't honored. I said, I have to pay that come the 1st, regardless if it's paid or not. It'll go up against my credit score. I'll pay one way or the other. And so I was denied that, and then I received those papers, and I thought, well, maybe it'll just reflect in the paperwork that I have till the 31st, and it didn't. I have to be out.
So if it is if it's being court ordered, and again, I don't want to get too personal with you here, but if it's for certain things like non-payment and things like that, or not taking care of the property, or not following the guidelines of your lease, like smoking or having a dog or something like that.
No.
Yeah. So if it's none of that, I would say, again, I am not an attorney, but I would say if the landlord is forcing you out because maybe he's selling the property or whatever it is, if he's forcing you out on that date, I would say that you wouldn't owe for the remainder, but I don't know all the details. But I am happy to give you the number of Emmanuel. Are you in a place where you could take down a phone number?
No, I thought I would give you my contact
information. Okay, perfect. Yep. So you can. Yep, you can do that with Tim when we hang up. And like I said, I will reach out to Emmanuel on Monday for you, and I'll get back to you.
I really appreciate the time that you've taken, and thank you so much. And I enjoy the program.
Well, thank you for listening.
I've learned a lot from listening to you folks.
Well, thank you. My pleasure. And I'm hoping that you have some place to go. That seems to be the more difficult thing right now, and it is actually very in line with our topic.
That's the real sad part of it, and I'll just spare you those details. So that's why I'm reaching out. I thought, maybe there's hope. Maybe I can just get a little bit more time. But I'll wait to hear from you.
Okay, perfect. I will talk to you on Monday. Just leave all your information, like I said, with Tim, and I will talk to you on Monday.
Thank you again for the time.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Jean, for calling.
Thanks.
Bye.
and that's the thing too, is like, I love that we do this show, and we always discuss, is anybody ever listening, and, do we continue to do this show? And, it's a big investment for us. And we're all about giving value, like giving value to our agents who work at our office, and us giving value to the people who are listening and to our clients. And I did go to somebody's home last week, and what a wonderful, lovely couple. And they met me actually about 20 years ago in my brother Michael's office. I had gone in there for something, and they listened to our show. She's very hopeful that you'll find a house.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. She asked about my girls and everything. So it's just so sweet that maybe we are impacting. But one of the things that she said to me was, I knew when the time came for us to right size, I would only really want to talk to you because I can feel your honesty through the mic. So I'm really happy about that. And, I am not afraid to tell everybody I believe in God. And when I say my prayers, I always say, God, bring me people who need my help. I promise you I will always take care of them. So there you go.
Oh, is that how we all found you?
That's how you found me. Yes, that's how
we all need a little bit of help.
Yes, that's how I have all of you.
I just told Mark I'm your least problematic child.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, well, yeah, interesting. I think he had to give you a hug right before you were leaving for vacation. You were under so much stress.
I was. Now I'm like, hey, Mark, thanks for changing the plans. I'll relax.
Funny. So thank you for all of our listeners for being so supportive. And you know what? We have a lot of agents who even work in other offices that listen to us, and they say that they enjoy the show too. So we're grateful for that. But today's topic is why home buyers have fatigue in this current market, and what steps they can take to make their offers stand out from their competition. And we're also going to mingle in a little bit of how we can, how sellers can create a fair playing field for home buyers, and creative approaches that the buyers can make to sort of intrigue the sellers as well. So the reason for this topic is because, yes, we're still in low inventory. It's interesting. It's no lower than it was last year. I did run some stats. Marshfield 2022 had 28 homes in the market on this date, and today there are 17. Pembroke had 5 last year and 10 this year. So there's a difference there on the opposite way of what people would think. And then Hingham was 26 and 27. Hanover was 10 in 2022, 9 today. Hanson was 5 and 5, and Halifax was 5 and then 2. So Halifax, you can see what's happening in Halifax, and I would say because there are more homes in a demographic for first-time home buyers in Halifax, so that's where they're going. So I thought that was really interesting too. But if you have a question for us as well, I believe that was Jean. Jean, yep. Please feel free to call us, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900. One other thing, if you are in Pembroke, don't forget to vote, and please vote yes for the public safety building that we is on our ballot today. When you go to vote, please also, I'll just tell you who I'm voting for. I am voting for Tracy Marino as well as select person. So those are where my votes are going. And I, of course, am supporting the public safety building. Really passionate about that, and they deserve, a safe environment to work in.
Yeah.
So you want to take it from there?
Sure. So what do we got? Oh, you have a whole new thing here. So segment 1, we're going to be talking about understanding the current real estate market. Wow.
Yeah. So we just went over, some of the stats, like what is on the market, and then why don't you talk about, how buyers are feeling right now, because you're one of them.
Yeah. So, I can see that the next part is the emotional impact of buyer fatigue. And you did just tell everybody that Mark had to give me a hug before I left for Vegas, which I needed because I was having like an emotional breakdown. And I tell everybody I'm having a quarter life crisis, even though I'm 32.
I had a midlife crisis at 52.
Yeah, but that makes sense. I don't know. And it's funny because Matt Mahoney just texted me. So here's my sort of update since, we talked about it last. So obviously I went on vacation. I was very weary about it. I think mentally I needed to, have a little break from everything, not just work, but just from the market, because I was feeling so down and I couldn't help myself. Like, I know that I'm in this industry professionally, now I'm a buyer out there, and just seeing such low inventory, it is getting to me. As much as I don't want it to, it is, because I sort of feel like I'm waiting for my life to start, even though I've felt like I've lived 10 lives already. But you know, I know that I have so many people in my corner, and that's why I knew, like, as soon as you and Kristen were like, "What's going on?" and I just like have I had like a mental breakdown,
and the waterfall started.
And the waterfall started, and then Mark came up, had to give me a hug. But you know, while I was away, I did have people reaching out to me and say, "Oh, did you see this one? Did you see this one?" You know, I was flying home. I got a text message from Matt Mahoney, who is a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and he's like, "Hey, are you going to move to Kingston?" Because he lives in Kingston now, and I'm like, oh gosh, is there a house? So we're going back and forth on it, and you know, I called the agent yesterday, and I'm going to go see it today. I think that at first I probably wouldn't have gone to see it, because there are some things about the property that I was like sort of iffy about beforehand, but right now I'm like, you know what, I'm just going to give it a chance. I'm going to, you know, give it a look, and you know, that's just sort of where you have to be in this.
Yeah. So emotionally, let me ask you this. So you're discouraged because there's not a lot of things to look at. And even though I'm saying it's the same as last year, I know that before you left, you told me that the quality of the properties that are currently on the market is far lesser than what you've seen. So that's discouraging.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, so by the quality, it means, you know, it doesn't have siding. It doesn't have actual walls in the inside.
No running water.
Like Title V, the septic system has to be replaced by the buyer. Like, these are very specific properties that need specific buyers, and it's just not me.
Yep.
I'm looking for something that has character. I'm fine with quirky. I'm fine with, you know, all that stuff.
In fact, you like quirky.
I like quirky. That's why I'm going to see this house today. It's whole lot of wood, you know, but I can see potential in that. I don't necessarily feel like I have to finish a house by putting siding on it or put a new septic system in, because
at the price,
you know, it's just not where I'm at. And I don't think I'm ever going to get to that point where I'm just like calling Jasmine being like, hey, so I think I'm going to put in an offer, and it doesn't even exist yet. It's just a pile of air.
Well, and here's the other thing too, that I think with the emotional aspect of it, and where this fatigue is coming in, is, you know, buyers are feeling like they have to give, you know, their left arm in every type of situation in order to get their offer even really considered.
Yeah.
But then I think you're very different, and I think that Mary and I work differently as well. And I feel safe to say that all of our agents here at Boston Connect Real Estate feel the same way, that you would never compromise. We don't want our clients to compromise. I would rather you be in a situation where maybe you are still living at home, or maybe you can move in with a family member. Yeah, it stinks. I'm just going to be flat out about that. It is not fun moving in with family. I had to do it myself for the first 3 months Mark and I were married, while we saved every single penny we had and sold suits to consignment shops. You know, I understand that, but the option to just compromise and take anything, you will 100% regret that.
Yeah. I mean, and that sort of goes back to, and I talked about this before, when I did have a house, an accepted offer on a house late last year. Had I moved forward, I would have been compromising a lot. And I think if I was standing here today living in that house, I feel like I would have been sort of overwhelmed.
And, you know, here's the thing with that is, you know, I realize Mark and I were in a very, very particular position, because as you and Mary know, we treat you like you are our daughters, and we want you to make the right decisions, but you're also not our daughter.
Yeah.
So there are times where we look at each other and say, it's none of our business. Like, if they wanted our opinion, they would come flat out and ask it. And I know, like, I can see in your eyes, like, I remember walking around the Carver house, and I could tell you were trying to feel me out, and I was getting a weird vibe in the basement and all that. And I did not think it was the right house for you, but everybody else did.
Well, I knew that you guys didn't, because you guys were so quiet. And I'm like, okay, anybody want to give me their opinion? But we do have a caller. Okay. Tim, who do we have on the phone?
We have Joe and Hanson. Also, Melissa, if you could turn your microphone down just a little bit.
Oh, I'm actually screaming. It's probably my fault.
Back away from it. Something, please. You're pegging my levels.
I know, all the loud. I was thinking the same thing. It's because she was in all those casinos.
Yeah.
Oh.
I lost my hearing.
Oh, what's that? Oh.
Hi,
Anyway,
Joe.
we have Joe and Hanson, yes.
Hi, Joe and Hanson.
Hey, good morning. How are you guys? It's all about that gain and mic distance, isn't it?
Yeah, yes, it is. Sharon's over
How
at
are
the
you
board
this
trying
morning?
to fix me. I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing great. Great show, great content. Definitely appreciate the conversation that's happening and the topic, and it's certainly something that is an issue all across the South Shore. I mean, housing and what's out there, what's available. It's just a full disclosure here. I'm on the planning board in the town of Hanson, so I'm well aware of some of the issues that are happening in and around the South Shore. I mean, who knew that an apartment over in Brockton was going to go for $2,200 a month? So the housing market is just insane. Something that I'm really excited about and really looking forward to is a recent article in the town of Hanson itself that just passed at our town meeting. So it's off on its runnings up to the Attorney General's office for vetting and validation, and then it's going to be implemented. But it's for accessory dwelling units, and I was very excited to be part of the planning board that proposed this in support with the select board to get forward a town meeting, and that the town itself really supported it. One of the speakers just recently was talking about having to move back home. So lack of a better term, we call it. You can kind of nickname this the might be out of your generation, but my generation, like the Fonzie article. To have an accessory dwelling on your property, provided that it fits all of the check marks for the Title V applications and the zoning, and the square footage is up to 900 square feet. But it's something that I'm really excited about for Hanson and other towns on the South Shore if they're looking at adopting, some smart building, because you can overbuild and really detract from the nature of your town or the look of your town. That can happen very quickly. But this accessory dwelling article that went forward and what's passed the town meeting, we're very excited about it because it's going to give the opportunity for people to potentially build some accessory dwelling units detached from the home, to give somebody that distance and that not on top of each other feeling. So I am excited about that. It's not going to be hugely impacting, but if more of the towns on the South Shore recognize that these small accessory dwelling units, 900 square feet, that's definitely livable, and I think it's a great. We've got to think about what's coming down as far as housing, and I think it's something that's going to really work for the town of Hanson for sure.
That's awesome. Joe, can I ask you a couple questions about that? This is Sharon.
Sure. I can't quote the whole article verbatim.
No,
but
that's fine.
I'll do my best.
I don't expect that from you for sure. But, my question is, with these accessory apartments, is it for in-law use only? So is it only family members can live there? I heard you say that it could be detached, which is huge, because I know in the town of Pembroke, I sat on the zoning board for several years, and I know that ours had to be attached and it had to be a family member. So, and I also right now currently sit on the affordable housing in Pembroke, and these are some of the things that we're thinking about as well, because it is, we see a lot of people aging in place. You're probably familiar right now that Pembroke is up for a big vote today for our public safety buildings. And, I'm listening and watching everything on Facebook because I'm the founder of Pembroke Connect. Sometimes I don't like to admit that. And
I'm a member.
Good. If you could help me out every time they're beating me up, That's the thing is, I'm just giving facts about the cause. There's no reason to beat somebody up personally about that. But I am recognizing seniors are having a difficult time. And I feel for them in that capacity, but I think something like this would be nice. So those two questions for you, really it's just one. Can it be a non-family member that would live there, and can they be rented out?
Yes, there was absolutely a lot of discussion that happened in regards to, the regulation being for family member and non-family member. And a lot of the discussion was to get away from that very strict regulation about it being family members. So the article in Hanson does not have that in there because we wanted to be able to. Here's a prime example: somebody that has an accessory dwelling on their property, and there's a young college student looking for a place to be, maybe over at Bridgewater State, maybe at Massasoit, maybe somewhere in Quincy. But they're looking for that rural environment. They're looking for that rideability on the T. Why not be able to have a property that offers up that opportunity to a young adult maybe a young couple. So some of the conversation that had happened was in regards to some of the things like you're speaking about here, the in-law apartment or, that type of attached building. We wanted to be able to, like I was saying, we have to call them the Fonzie article, we wanted to be able to have that open ability for a property owner that has an opportunity to be able to build an accessory dwelling building, to be able to have a rental, that kind of a thing. Over-regulating it too much obviously constricts a lot of the application of it. So we wanted to make sure that we had some open, availability. We wanted to be able to have that because we're trying to make sure that we encapsulate that young adults, that especially with the T, with the rideability of the T.
Is it part of the MBTA new requirements? Is it part of that?
No, so you're talking about the MBTA zoning. That's something completely separate, and this is completely different than the MBTA zoning that's getting ready to come down, and it's actually being implemented now. So that's completely different than that. This was a completely different topic, same kind of general discussion, availability, what's out there, but it's complete. Now, as far as regulation, inside the article, there is protections inside the article to make it so that somebody that wasn't, a snowbirder completely away, a homeowner, there is regulation inside the article that defines the application of when the actual property owner needs to be living in their primary domicile as an active person. You couldn't have somebody that just goes down to, say, Carolina for 8 months, and they're renting out the accessory dwelling. You have to be an active homeowner. So that is inside the article.
Primary residence, yeah.
Exactly.
You know what, Joe? Would you be willing to come on and do the show with us next week, and maybe we can get somebody from Pembroke or some of the other surrounding towns too to talk about this?
I would, any of the local planning board members in the South Shore or local planners, anybody that would, I absolutely, you could talk to Mr. Tachi. He's got my contact info. But I would absolutely love to come in and talk about zoning and planning because it is a very, very important topic, and it's very difficult to try to, I don't want to say educate, but understand. There's so many facets of zoning. So many facets of community planning. It's extremely difficult. People see the effects of the Title V's, and people see what was once the not the foreclosures. What would they call it? The short sales and those kinds of things. So, but absolutely, I would love to come on and
Can
talk.
you leave your number with Tim so I don't have to reach out to Mr. Tachi for it?
Of course I can.
Yeah, just leave that with him. And I think because I have so many questions, like I want to know: is it a use by right, or do they have to go for variances? Is there a certain certain size for their lot? I have so many questions, and I love the fact that this is great because affordability is a huge issue here on the South Shore and really everywhere, I would say. So I would love to have that topic if you can do next Saturday, and if you have any favorites over at the planning board in Pembroke, I'm happy to invite them, and maybe we can have a couple people or somebody from affordable housing as well. So if you could just leave your number.
I would love it. Sure,
yeah, that would be awesome.
I appreciate letting me speak, and hey, happy Saturday, everybody.
Yeah, great topic. So thank you so much
for calling.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So don't forget, don't hang up. Give everything to Tim.
I won't.
Thank you. So, all right, everybody knows what next week's topic is about. We're going to talk about zoning and we've been talking about this in affordable housing. What can we do to make changes so there are more affordable housing opportunities for people? And it starts with planning. So there you go.
My first thought was, okay, so if it's somebody who sort of wants to right size, but, sort of live at home, I'm just thinking like, somebody who lives in the town of Hanson, they want their parents to come live with them, but not necessarily on top of each other. If they had a dwelling that was detached and we could sell their house and then they could live in that detached dwelling, but also have quality of life because of, the money they're making off their home and all that stuff.
I was just saying, Tim's going to you're screaming.
No, she's fine.
She's fine now. Okay, good. I can tell it sounds fine to me too, but I can see when she's getting passionate in here and she's into the microphone and all that.
Well, you know me, I'm always like, we got to sell some houses.
Yeah, we do. But you know what? What a great added value for moving to the town of Hanson right now. I mean, come on. Hanson, you just brought it up a notch. I'm pretty proud of that for you guys. And, you know, it's going to, that's awesome. I mean, and think about how many more people can age in place. And that's the thing with in-laws, you know, hey, I had my dad living with me for a month. You know what? I was like, I think I need to, go up on Lexapro or something. So, all right. So that's great. I'm glad that he called. Again, any calls, this is what we love to do because we can always continue this topic on Tuesday. We're going to skip right by that 10:30 break. And if you have any other questions, 781-837-4900. Tim is in studio. He'll get you right over to us. We've had 2 great callers this morning, so we appreciate you. So we talked about, you know, segment 1 was understanding the current market. And then segment 2 is about the emotional impact and buyer fatigue. You did a great job on that. Thanks. And maybe some different strategies on how to stand out in a competitive market. Do you want to touch base on that?
Well, something that I found interesting, so I helped you go through the 20 offers that you got on one of your listings last week before I left. And one of the interesting things that I saw was only 1 or 2 had waived their home inspection. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And that, as a buyer in this market, that made me happy. Mm-hmm. As a listing agent, of course, you want people to, waive your home inspection. But we just sort of went back to that market of, I mean, the house was very much like a first-time home buyer home. Yeah. Or somebody who was right-sizing to that size home. Mm-hmm. But, you know, the majority of everybody who put in the offer was a first-time home buyer, and they wanted to do a home inspection. Yeah. And I love that as a first-time home buyer in this market. And we just got an offer accepted for one of our clients. They actually, I have to give kudos to them as well. They're so much fun to be, you know, working for. They were referred to me from somebody that's very close to them, and they, you know, we got their condo under agreement. It actually passed papers yesterday, so that closing happened yesterday. We were able to, and this is the thing, is being creative, right? So we were able to extend because they're going on vacation Tuesday, and we were able to get a use and occupancy until the end of the month, which gives them time. And we were really trying to find them a home before so they could do, you know, one move. It's much more reasonable to do one move, but we weren't able to do that. But we did get something under agreement for them this week. And, you know, it's the end of June. So, you know, they'll be staying with family for a month. But we were also, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we can be extremely flexible. So if your new construction property is completed beforehand, so they're building in Taunton, and this house is in East Bridgewater, perfect little house, it's great, but they're flexible, which was enticing to the seller, and we did do a home inspection. I mean, I think that something that I always talk to you and Mary and Jasmine about is, okay, what's the best I can do for this house? Mm-hmm. Like, if I'm going to put in an offer, what's the best I can do? And, you know, the last time I put in an offer, Jasmine's like, you could close tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, I don't know. I could close tomorrow, but how about 2 weeks? We could do 2 weeks. Mm-hmm. So, you know, just coming up with things that, you know, that you can do, whether it's physically, financially, whatever, or you can extend. I mean, I'll give you all the time in the world, or I'll give you 2 weeks. Whatever you need. Whatever you need.
Yeah. And, you know, it was interesting when you were talking about the 20 offers that we got, and it was very interesting for me, and actually a little disheartening, because as the broker of a firm, I looked at these offers and I thought, if any of our agents ever presented an offer that was as messy as this.
Well, we had an office meeting the next day after we had gone through all these offers. We do the cover sheets, we do the spreadsheet, everything. And I said to everybody, I said, as a manager of a real estate company, I'm appalled. As a buyer in this market, I loved this because I know that if I had put in an offer against all of those other offers, my offer would have been so much better, looked so much better, because it actually would have been a complete offer package with the best I had to offer. And, you know, I'm not saying anything about one agent. I would never, ever, ever name names. And for the most part, I generally don't even know. I'm looking at, like, numbers and packages and everything else. And I thought the same thing about, like, how these offers are and how I'm looking at them. And simple instructions, which are attached to, you know. But, like, it's like, send the offer here. And then
oh, did you, like 3 days later, did you get my offer? Well, where did you send it? Because it wasn't where I asked you to.
Why did you ask? Why has it been 3 days?
3 days later, I don't know. And then, just different things that were just so sloppy. But you know what? You're right. The ones that, I had a cover sheet. All you had to do is print it out. I put little check boxes next to every item that we wanted. All you had to do is check them off, so... And that's one of the things, the agent that's listing the property that our clients just got this week he was great. He put a checklist of what he wanted. I took that checklist, I put it into Dotloop, and anytime I finished something, I put a check mark next to it. Complete. And I had a complete full package for him. Mm-hmm. So, like if agents are asking for everything to be in one PDF, then do it.
Yeah. What's the problem?
And here's the thing is, I feel bad.
That's how I feel.
When I'm looking at it, I'm like, I actually feel bad for these buyers that they're being represented by this agent because I'm sort of irritated that they're not following directions, and it's not the buyer's fault.
Yeah.
Right? So that's why you should. If you're a buyer in this market, you should be interviewing agents. Don't just pick anybody. Like, interview. What do you do for me?
Yeah. I mean, and you were very specific about the guidelines, and I going through, because we sort of divided and conquered, I took half the offers, you took the other half, and I was calling agents to ask them if they wanted to extend their offer because they didn't make it good through our offer deadline.
Yeah, because they didn't read it.
You got to read.
Take time to read. Well, you shouldn't be selling houses if you can't read.
Yeah.
So anyways, that was just me. Okay, so other strategies. Again, I like that you brought up that you really don't have to give up. You really don't have to give up your home inspections anymore, mortgage contingencies. But I think that you should make your offer as clean as possible. Please ask your agents, hey, can you make sure that you have all the items? I usually have the checklist right at the open house with me, so I can give those out to the buyers as well. And just make your offer as compelling as you can, make it as clean as possible. And, don't be asking for if it says the washer, dryer, refrigerator isn't included, don't add those and everything else. The hard part of being a buyer's agent right now is really, you should be looking at what is the value of this home. And we never want anybody to overpay for a house. So we can go in and say, hey, I think that the value of this house is probably right where they're listing it. But we also know that there are going to be 10 to 20 offers on this property. That emotional value is something I can't gauge. And I drove myself crazy with it last week because I was like, I can't tell them, because I'm not the one living in this home. Mm-hmm. Would I be willing to pay $10,000 over? Would I be willing to pay $100,000 over? I don't know. It's what everybody else, what you're feeling.
Yeah.
But one of the things I said is, are you going to be uncomfortable if you lose this house over $5,000? Or are you going to be laying in bed for the first, night while you're there, being upset because you paid $5,000 more?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what you have to sort of struggle with. The other depressing part is, yes, people are having home inspections, but it's, in the back of your head that they had other offers. You know that they can easily get another buyer.
Yeah.
So I tend to think that buyers are sort of holding back from what they want, and that hurts for us too. But if you're willing to lose the house over asking for this concession of some sort, maybe it's, I don't even know, like say maybe a crack in the chimney or something like that.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to lose it.
Yeah. Well, and I'm just going back to what you always say, you price the property in the condition that it's in, and a buyer is going to come in and sort of offer what they think it's worth. So if they're going over, they're saying that they feel like they see the value at that.
Yep.
And if you are going in and offering more and you don't believe that that's the value, no, don't do that. Because like I said, with this Hanson house a couple weeks ago or months ago, I don't even know what day it is, that I could have gone higher, but I didn't see the value. And it's just how you have to be. You have to be smart. Got to be smart about these things.
Yeah, absolutely. And then another thing, too, this actually brings us to segment 4, which is, creative approach to differentiate your offer from the others. I mean, we just talked about that in depth about, making sure it is a complete and full package. Make sure every single week on Friday, you should be asking your loan officer for an updated pre-approval with that date on it.
Yeah.
Because that's something we're definitely looking at, especially when the rates are changing one way or another all the time.
I know. When I was talking to Matt Mahoney, again, he's a full-time realtor here at Boston Connect Real Estate. He actually drove by the house while we were talking.
Really?
He gave his opinion. And he was saying to me, this, and this. Oh, and the rates went down. And I'm like, okay. And because I was so sort of far removed, obviously I was on vacation, but still had people thinking about me.
Yeah.
And that's just sort of where you have to be. Like if you're in this to buy a house, you got to have so many people on your side.
You have to have a team that stands behind you.
You got to have a team, yeah.
You just happen to be lucky that you have 30 of them.
I know. I have the biggest team. I'm so lucky.
I have to give you this funny story. So I was out with my clients, and they are just wonderful, wonderful people, a younger couple. They sold their condo, and they're moving into this house, right, that I've been talking about. So I showed them the property last Saturday, I think it was, and Mark went with me. So it was like 5 o'clock that I got the showing. He had the open house. They went to it. And, the first thing, I called the other agent, and I said, thank you so much for entertaining my client this morning. Like, I had the radio show. Mary had an open house, but they are interested. So I'm going to go back and preview the home, because I don't feel comfortable putting an offer in on something if I haven't seen it, right? So Mark and I went back. It was 5 o'clock, and we're walking around the house. And Mark, he's a plumber by trade, and he's around contract. Like, he's just good, right? And
I think you posted on social media or something that you were at a showing, because I knew about it.
Oh yeah, I probably did something about the turkeys. There was turkeys in the yard and all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and so there we were, and I brought up something about something, and I was like, well, you know what Mary would say? And they're like, oh yeah, she is serious about that, like a chimney pulling away from a house or something. And we were laughing about it. She goes, I have to tell you, I love you guys. I am so happy that we got to refer to you. She goes, not only do we have 2 realtors, we have a +1.
Mark?
Yeah.
Mark's the +1.
Yeah, Mark was the +1. So something came up in the home inspection, and they sent us a group text, and they said, we went through everything. We really don't have any questions for you, but we do have a question for our +1
for Mark.
Yeah, so that was a lot of fun. But unique ways. We did discuss that. But one of the other things is, take the time to have your agent. We would love if it was one of our agents here at Boston Connect, because we're trained to do this. Call the other agent. Say, hey, what would be an ideal offer for your client, for the sellers? Are they looking for a specific date? Are they looking for, specific terms or conditions or any language that they might want in this offer, so we can give you the most ideal offer? That's really important. And then you can get sort of a feel for what is going on and what they want.
Well, like I said, I'm willing to give somebody no time, a lot of time, nothing, but it's going to be specific to that person. So if I put in an offer on a house with somebody who has a contingency that they have to find something, of course they're going to need time.
Yeah.
But you need to know that. You need to ask those questions in order to know that. So again, we're in the industry, so I know to ask that question. But buyers out there, if you are in a position that I'm in, where you are flexible with time, well, maybe somebody else isn't flexible with time. Maybe somebody really needs to just offload this house, get it out.
And sometimes an offer gets accepted when it's not the highest offer.
Yeah.
That happened in the listing on Isabel and Abington. We did not accept the highest offer. We accepted the one that we thought was financially most secure.
I know.
And the same thing
and we picked the same one.
Yeah, we did pick the same one, right? Which brings me to the next comment is, with love letters. So love letters could be a whole entire show by themselves. So a love letter would be when the buyers write the seller a little love letter. Hey, as soon as I stepped into your home, I knew that it was the one for me, blah, 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 blah. There's a lot of controversy around this, especially when it comes to fair housing laws, okay? So I generally say to my clients, if it's part of the offer, I have to present it legally. Yeah. It's part of the offer. My suggestion is that we go through all the numbers and narrow it down to the ones that you want, and then read the letters, because you shouldn't be choosing who the buyer of your home is based on emotions.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But you can see in my notes here, I put next to this highlight, the benefits of writing a personal love letter is Kristen. So Kristen Howlett, she's another full-time real estate agent here at Boston Connect Real Estate, and she does Tuesday night shows a lot with Melissa. So we appreciate that, and she's the best of the best. So she lives in Bridgewater, does all the areas all over. But we were talking the other day, and she was sitting there, she was writing up an offer, and she was struggling a little bit, and I was like, what's up? And she's like, I'm just trying to write a letter to the seller. So she, as the agent, is writing the letter.
Yeah, that's
and
great.
she said that she had the reason why 2 of her offers recently got accepted was because of her letter. And one of the sellers specifically said, hey, I really like that this agent took the time to not only give me a perfect package, but to tell me other things. I know she will be on top of it.
Yeah.
So that matters. So good job, Kristen Howlett.
It's the little things.
It is the little things. So before we get on to our next segment, which is creating a fair playing field for home buyers, this is towards sellers. So we're going to gear this next section towards sellers. And if we have to continue into Monday, we can certainly, Tuesday, we can certainly do that. If you have any questions, whether it's about this topic or any other topic, feel free to give us a buzz. Tim is our director of the big panels over there in WATD, 781-837-4900, 781-837-4900.
Yes. I'm just reading these things. So, discuss the importance of sellers creating an environment that allows all potential buyers to have a fair chance at viewing and considering their home. One of my biggest pet peeves.
It's the topic this week. I already know what you're going to say.
It was a pet peeve of mine before I was looking, and it's a bigger pet peeve now. Why are you putting a house on the market and then not allowing showings for 4 days? And then doing maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours would be crazy in this market. 2-hour open house, and that's it? That's all you can see? That's all you can see it? Why?
It is absurd.
It drives me absolutely insane. You get 1 million people knocking on your door. So are you showing the property in the best light? Because especially if it's a smaller home and you have 100 people show up, and I'm not exaggerating, that happens.
125 if you want like that. And we allowed showings beforehand.
Yeah. Why? You're just creating an environment that is making people uncomfortable. I'm sorry. As a buyer in this market, if I go up to an open house and there's 50 people waiting in line, I'm saying, oh, God.
Yeah.
What's it going to be like when there's 50 people in this house walking around and you can't see anything?
And 2, I think it gives the impression that there are automatically going to be multiple offers, and people don't want to get into multiple offer situations.
They've already been into it for months.
Yep. And they're like, you know what? I don't even have a chance. I'm out. And again, my next statement is more based on how we do it and how I feel it benefits the seller. And I am saying it right out there. When an agent says to me, my seller wants it this way, I do not believe that agent educated that seller on the benefits of why that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And if there are any agents out there that disagree with us, please call, because I need to see perspective.
Yeah. I spoke with an agent yesterday, and it was no showings until the open house. And especially, with it being sort of a tough weekend. I mean, it's beautiful out and stuff like that. So,
Mother's Day weekend.
Oh, well, I was getting away from that just in case we replay the show.
All right, that's all right.
To have offers due on a holiday, I mean, I get it. I mean, I'm not a mother, but I have a cat.
Yeah, you have a mother.
I have a mother. What if I want to spend it with my mother?
I'm pretty convinced that everybody has a mother, whether they're with us or not.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that safe to say?
Somebody said the other day, does your mother have any children? It's like a prompting funny question. But where was I going with that? Oh, so I called an agent yesterday, and I was like, just wanted to make sure, I did see that there's no showings until the open house. Is that correct? Oh, yes, there's no showings. I'm doing open house 1 to 3. And I said, okay, do you have an offer deadline? Because I'm not going there on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm just not. And so I'll go today, and I'll see it, and then decide. I mean, I'm not.
Well, first of all, can we talk about this? And this is, we're definitely going to have to take up this section again on Tuesday. So we'll do a recap on Tuesday, and then we'll talk about this because we only have 5 minutes left. This is exactly my point. And I have to tell you, doing the open house recently in Abington, we had 57 groups of people come through. Mark was with me, checking everybody in. And so every group had minimum of 2 people up to 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So there was minimally 125 people going through this house. We put that house on the market Thursday morning. Our goal was Wednesday, but because of, different pictures and things like that, it was Thursday morning. We allowed showings right away. So we had over 25 showings on the property as well. So if we had all those people that had to wait until the open house, it would have been pure mayhem.
Yeah.
But I made the showings available Thursday, Friday. We had open house Saturday. Some people showed it before, some people showed it after. We had showings on Sunday. Because if you come to the open house on Saturday and your agent isn't able to see it, you have all day Saturday to make an appointment. And then I made offers due Monday by 5 p.m. And the reason why I did that is because now if you are really interested in the property, that gives you your opportunity in Massachusetts, which is caveat emptor, buyer beware, do your due diligence, to go to town hall, check out things. And I say this all the time, I can't buy a pair of shoes on Zappos in 15 minutes. I don't know how people buy a house.
Well, at Monday, you've been on the market for 5 days, and people had 5 days to see it.
And consider it and get rid of their buyer remorse or feel pressured into putting an offer in on the house because they felt that anxiety. And honestly, the other thing too is a lot of buyers right now are putting in multiple offers on the weekend because it has the same deadline, and whichever one doesn't, if one doesn't get accepted, then they have the other one on the table. If one gets accepted, they pull the other one. Hey, I'd rather you get all that behind you on Monday.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So Monday by 5, and then we make the offer good for 24 hours, and I talk to the seller on Tuesday. So Kristen was in the office this week, and she wanted to show a property. It was a condo, and it went on the market like Monday or Tuesday. It said, call the agent. Now, you can set up your appointments with us through the program that we pay for, which is Showing Time. Go right online, pick an appointment. That's the other thing. Agents don't read and they're calling, can I get an appointment? Read. So you have to email this agent. She didn't get back to her. Kristen kept on texting her, emailing her, emailing her, all the way up to Thursday. No response. Finally gets a response from her. And she says, I'm not having any showings until the open house on Saturday from 3 to 4.
What?
3 to 4.
3 to 4.
3 to 4. 1 hour on a Saturday, 3 to 4. I don't even understand this. So Kristen's client can't. She's working. She can't do it. Can I get in before? No. Can I get in after? No. Can I get in on Sunday? No. So, how can that be fair? How can the seller possibly be getting the most eyes on that property? You can't.
I don't know. But
Boy,
we're done.
yeah, we're done. All right, so we're going to continue this topic on Tuesday, right?
Yes, we are.
All right. If you want to listen, I know, right? The claws come out. So if you want to listen to any of our past shows, you can go to our podcast, which is Talk Real Estate Roundtable. You can get that on your Alexa or whatever you have for podcasts, and you can go to bostonconnect.com to find all our information. You can always get me on my cell phone. If you're thinking about buying or selling your home and you would like to talk to me and my team, 781-294-4848, or one of our agents at bostonconnect.com, 781-826-8000. Have a great weekend, and happy Mother's Day to all of our moms, whether you are with us or you are not. I am giving you a hug. So happy Mother's Day.
Happy Mother's Day.
WATD FM Marshfield, WBMS Brockton.